What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. It's that time of the year again. It's going to be leak season for Classic Plus. The only difference this time around is that I feel like Classic Plus is actually on the horizon. At the very least, we are going to get an announcement at BlizzCon this year. There's just too many things happening that are indicating that that is where we're headed, right? You know, a lot of the big streamers last week went out to Blizzard HQ and did whatever there. We have no idea what they actually did. They're not allowed to speak about it, but there's so many things pointing towards a Classic Plus announcement this year at BlizzCon, which I'll be honest with you, myself personally, I do believe we're going to get an announcement. I'm not sure when Classic Plus is going to be launching. We'll get into that later in the video, but today I want to talk about this massive leak. Sorry, I just hit my microphone. I'm just very excited reading through this leak. That seems like it could be pretty real. And there's a lot of reasons why this leak in particular, we've gotten a lot of leaks over the past few years. This one in particular does seem the most realistic to me. And you're going to understand why as we kind of analyze and go through this leak. I wasn't going to do it, but you guys have been asking me for the past 3 days, please go over the leak, please go over the leak. So we're going to do it here on this video. Let me switch my screen over and we're going to take a look at this. I downloaded it. It's from Reddit. I'll link the original post down below in the description of this video, but I opened it up as a folder, a file on my PC so that we can, read through it together at our own pace. So starting off at the top, it says World of Warcraft Classic Plus is happening. Blizzard started working on it before SOD was released. It will be announced at BlizzCon 2026 with a 2027 launch window. The direction of Classic Plus will be a small number of changes and lots of new content. It will be more grounded and in line with the old school feel of Classic. SOD was a testing ground for the wild ideas, and Classic Plus will be made for players who enjoy the old school MMO feel and design. And, that opening up this leak with that at the helm, right? Like with that, the first thing that you see is that's promising to me. That actually is in line with what I have been thinking Classic Plus should be this entire time. And I wasn't sure if, Blizzard was maybe on board with this, but I really do think that that does make sense, right? They start working on a Classic Plus. We've known that they've hired a bunch of people onto the Classic dev team over the past few years, even after SOD ended. And why is that, right? What are they working on? What have they been working on this entire time? So we know, obviously, it's something for the future of Classic. Probably Classic Plus. And that makes a lot of sense, right? They used Season of Discovery as basically a massive, over a year-long beta testing environment to test out a bunch of ideas, see how people reacted to them, see how people liked them before they go and implement them in Classic Plus. Now, SOD had a lot of great ideas and a lot of bad ideas. I think for the most part, I would say at least 60 to 70% of SOD wouldn't fit in a true Classic Plus, the Classic Plus that I would want to play, but they were able to kind of fine-tune and test out these ideas to see what maybe could fit in there, right? So that's really important, and I'm hopeful. You know what I mean? There is no credible source for this leak. I want to go and state that right now. There's no credible source for this leak. We don't know where it came from. This could just be someone's idea of Classic Plus, but for the most part, it is pretty spot on, and it's kind of scary how spot on it should be. A major feature is the 2 new races, High Elves for the Alliance and Amani Forest Trolls for the Horde. Both races fit the Classic design space. It has been decided that Goblins should remain neutral. Both races will have 1 to 10 leveling zones in major cities. Ghostlands will be a new contested zone for the 10 to 20 leveling bracket. It will launch similarly to expansions, and it will have a price tag. The price will be the same or more than modern expansions. Every 2 years, there will be a content update similar to an expansion, and it will launch with new, fresh servers. Those will be merged back into the original servers, which will also be updated at the same time. When the new content launches, players can decide to play the new, fresh servers or play the Era Realms. This will satisfy both the people who enjoy a fresh start to experience the new content and those who want the horizontal style in the Era Realms. This will make it so every year there will be a modern WoW expansion or Classic Plus mini expansion, which this makes sense as well. We've talked about this multiple times on the channel, right? This is something that needs to happen. We need to be able to simulate that fresh feeling without actually wiping our characters every single time. And I think this is a really good way of doing that. So if they implemented something like this, I wouldn't be upset, would you? The content will feature old, abandoned ideas for raids, zones, dungeons, and quest lines. The leveling will be updated, but instead of increasing the XP gain or making it easier to level, the devs decided to add a lot more quests and class-specific quests, so players will not run out of quests while leveling, and there will be less need to spam dungeons. There will be a lot of new class quests. For example, hunters will have quests to hunt down elites and rares around the world. Warriors will have class quests that will award them cool-looking weapons like a one-handed axe that has an on-use effect to throw the axe at the enemy from a distance. A two-handed mace with an on-use effect to knock down all enemies in front. Rogues will have Ravenhold Manor as a quest hub for class quests that will involve them using their new ability, Disguise from the alpha version of WoW, to transform their appearance and sneak into places. Now, this sounds exactly like kind of what they did in Season of Discovery, right? You guys remember doing the dagger quest for rogues at level 60, where you went to Ravenhold Manor, and that was kind of your quest hub. You went back and forth there like 10 times. Warriors, I think it was around level 40, Gnomeregan times. You had the quest line to unlock the big meat stick weapon that you got. Like, this is stuff that they tested out in Season of Discovery, so it could really make sense. And I think this stuff just... it really does fit the classic design, right? It would fit into a Classic Plus world. Having that class fantasy and those class quests and all things like that really does, make it so that it feels like old school. It feels like an old school MMO. It feels like old World of Warcraft, which is what all of us Classic players want at the end of the day, right? So I think this is moving in the right direction. If this leak has any truth to it whatsoever, this is a really good sign. There will be new zones at launch: Hyjal, Dragonmaw Foothills near Grim Batal. They are both completely different from Modern and will be done in the style of Classic. Hyjal will be a 55 to 60 zone, and Dragonmaw Foothills is a 30 to 40. Azshara will be updated with new quests. Deadwind Pass is also updated with quests and a faction. New quest hubs will be added to the zones like Feralis, Alterac Mountains, Silverpine Forest, Blasted Lands, and more. So, yeah, just getting more, quests in these zones that we already have. And then on top of that, new zones to quest in as you're leveling, or maybe even endgame zones. There will be new leveling dungeons in Alterac Mountains, Dustwallow Marsh, and Azshara. Some of the old dungeons will have the small updates to keep them fresh and interesting. There will be new raids. The focus is to make the system more horizontal and to avoid deprecating old content while providing exciting new raids. Now, this part, this does make sense. This is something we've talked about for a long time. Old raids will act as a catch-up mechanic when a new phase drops. The new raid is the main focus, and all the BIS gear is from the new raid. The old raids will become available when the next phase launches. Old Phase 1 raids will be launched when Phase 2 drops. There will be 3 new raids at launch. Karazhan Crypts from Sod will be a pre-raid dungeon similar to Upper Blackrock Spire. Phase 1 raid is going to be Grim Batal. Phase 2 raid is going to be a new Naga raid in Azshara, and in later phases we'll see Karazhan from TBC. Which all of this makes sense, right? This stuff fits into that Classic universe, so I would be pretty excited to see that. New outdoor dungeons will be added, similar to Jinther Allure. In the hinterlands. This is stuff that really does fit that Classic vibe as well. I'd love to see some more new, outdoor dungeons like in that exact same style. They will revolve around leveling quest chains. The Blasted Lands unique mining cave will be finished. Stone Talon Peak Cave, Feralis Isle of Dread, and more. Rares around the world will be updated and new ones will be added. They will require 5-player parties to encourage grouping. Again, another Classic mechanic, right? You want to encourage players to play together. You want to have to group up to do things out in the world. I can't stress enough that I feel that Classic Plus should be in the same, they should basically be trying to recreate 2004 vibes from WoW. Like, before we knew everything, before everyone knew how to min-max the game to a point where you could just solo everything, they need to find a way to recreate that, and these are good ways to do that. Encourage people playing together. New world bosses have been added around the world. On launch, there will be 1 new world boss in Hyjal. Spawn windows are tuned to increase participation. They will not be instanced like in Sod, which, again, that was a great quality of life change that we got in Sod, but wasn't very Classic. The Classic way is to have it dominated by one guild and you never get to get the loot. That is the truth. That's what it comes down to. Reputation will be developed uniquely. There will be a new Reputation faction on launch, and all of the existing ones will be updated. There will be a lot more Reputation rewards, and the Reputation will be earned through repeatable quests. There will be no daily quests, and dungeons will not reward faction Reputation. Instead, the focus will be on repeatable quests. Each faction will have 10 to 15 repeatable quests in their specific zone. Those quests will require traveling around the zone and interacting with other players. Some of them will be made in a way that players from each faction will have to fight for a resource in that zone. Others will require players to group up to kill an elite mob in the zone, and the main design focus of Reputation will be to make the zones feel more populated. When players run around to do their repeatable quests, clash with the opposite faction or group with their own, it will make the zones feel more alive and populated, and this does make sense. I think there was something like this in SOD towards the end there. We did in Burning Steps, right? Something similar to this where we did daily quests there. I don't really remember fully because this is kind of when, this is the phase that I didn't play much of SOD, but I remember something like this happening, and it was fun in the beginning, but it definitely felt off after you had to do it every single day. So I feel like there's ways to do this where they can make it fun, and hopefully they can achieve that. New profession, jewel crafting. It will be simpler compared to TBC jewel crafting. You're going to craft necklaces, rings, trinkets, and offhands. Create gems that can be socketed to necklaces and rings. Items will not have sockets like in TBC. Instead, the jewel crafter can create a socket in necklaces and rings only. This will fit since those two cannot be enchanted like the rest of the gear. The gems will not have stats only like in TBC. There will be unique and interesting effects similar to enchants. That's interesting. I think that one's a little bit of a slippery slope where, you know, they need to be careful not to go too far with this. That's when it could start feeling a little wacky and out of control. Professions will be updated in a major way. There will be a lot more crafting gear, and the existing gear will be made useful while leveling and as pre-raid BIS gear. There will be a lot of unique ideas. The focus is to make all of them on the same level of usefulness as engineering. Leatherworkers can craft tents that will give them rested XP with the need to without the need to return to a rested place. Now, this makes sense. We saw this in Season of Discovery with the sleeping bag, right? And we knew that this came from, I think, Turtle WoW had it before that, and that's where the sleeping bag idea probably came from. So we've seen this in the game before, and it did work. You guys don't remember just hundreds of people gathering outside Stormwind to rest in the sleeping bags and get their XP buff? Like, that was pretty cool. It got the community together. It was very similar to, like, getting world buffs, right? People love that vibe of, like, having to go all the level 60s. You have level 10s, level 20s, level 40s, all gathering in Stranglethorn to get the world buffs. It gives that same kind of vibe, which to me is a very classic thing. Water bags from leather. When the player is near water, they could be filled to transform them into a stack of high-level water. At level 60, they can make water bags with the highest mana regeneration in the game. They can make war horn trinkets made from rare animal horns, drums, similar to TBC. Each profession will have an alternative to grenades. Leatherworkers can make bolas that can be thrown to knock down, immobilize, and reduce range damage. And alchemy will have concoctions that can sleep targets in a small area for a short period of time. Those items will require skill to land them on the target, similar to grenades. Each profession will have BOP epic items, bind on pickup, that can be upgraded in each phase similar to TBC. Leatherworking, epic cloaks, blacksmithing, weapons and shields, alchemy, endless potions, and a trinket. Now, again, this is in line with what it should be for Classic. Like, I'd argue that this sounds more Classic than everything that SOD did with professions, right? Like, we had some of this good stuff in Season of Discovery, but having it all, like, here's the thing, right? We want to make sure that not every profession in every class can do the same thing, right? And that is where I feel like this slippery slope comes in. If this were to be in the game, there needs to be a reason why you would want leatherworking over engineering. There needs to be a reason why you would take alchemy over leatherworking, right? These things can't be identical. They can have counterparts for each one that excel in a different area of the game, sure. But they can't be identical. Like, they can't have the same effect. That's all I want to say. The problem with consumables and their prices will be addressed. There will be many new sources for consumables. Reputation repeatable quests will award potions. Dungeons will award a bag of consumables. PvP will award consumables. You trade battleground badges or do world PvP objectives for a bag of consumables. This will drive down the price and demand for consumables while still keeping them at the same as they are in original Classic. There will be new content around the world, new jumping puzzle that will have a reward at the end. The places where those puzzles are will be a sanctuary, and there will be no world PvP. At the end of the challenge, there will be a new type of chest called an Arcanite chest. The items from that chest cannot be traded or sold. They will be BOP and without a sell price to prevent farming them for gold. They will include rewards like mounts, trinkets, toys, tabards, and consumables like resistance potions, flasks, elixirs, and more. That sounds great. Add more fun stuff to do in the world. Like the Anzu challenge in SOD was amazing. When I finally got my sunglasses, I was the happiest person in the world. I thought it was a lot of fun. There will be some quality of life changes, collection tab for mounts and pets, guild banks, auction house changes. Flight paths will be optimized in a way that will take less time to fly. There will be no new flight paths. Adding new flight paths will prevent players from traversing the zones and ultimately lead to less populated zones. Keeping the world alive and populated is the main pillar of Classic, and I cannot agree with that enough. The PvP system will be revamped. It will have a seasonal model and new honor rewards each phase. Rated battlegrounds will be added in later phases. The main PvP items will require honor only. The battleground badges will be used for separate battleground rewards that require only badges. I mean, here's where it's going to get really interesting, right? Because PvP is a major part of Classic, so I think that this is really important to talk about. So let's see where we go with PvP. The PvP system will be revamped. It will have a seasonal model and new honor rewards each phase. Rated battlegrounds will be added in later phases. Oh, we read that part. Every week there will be a new PvP event called Drums of War. During that time, players will be encouraged to raid enemy cities. Oh, I unplugged my headphones. Hold on one second. During that time, players will be encouraged to raid enemy cities or defend their own cities. The enemy faction leaders will grant a huge amount of honor when killed and a new currency to everyone who participated. Players will also be able to defend their cities. If their own faction leader is not killed during the event, they will be granted honor and a new currency. This will encourage players to raid enemy cities or defend their own cities from invaders. The capital leaders will have a very small chance to drop a legendary weapon. Sylvanas can drop her bow, Karn can drop a totem, Magni can drop a one-handed hammer and axe, Bolvar a one-handed sword and shield, Thrall a spellcaster hammer, and more. Now that's pretty badass in my opinion. That does fit within the realm of Classic, and I would love to see something like that implemented. Like once a week, you know, there's this massive war going on where Stormwind's going to be raided and you have to protect the king. Like that would be... I mean, that is the most Classic thing ever, right? Let's get war back in Warcraft. Whether this leak is real or not, Blizzard, if it's not real, you got to read this and take notes, because that is Warcraft, in my opinion. Back in the day, we used to just do that for fun. You know, there was no reward for it. But if you get honor and a chance at gear from it, is great. Like, even just rewarding honor would be great from that. Azshara Crater will be developed as a new open-world PvP zone. Small objectives in the zone will incentivize small skirmishes and battles. The idea is that the core of world PvP is not big battles, but instead small skirmishes involving a few players. I like this as well. We all know, let's be real, that large-scale world PvP looks cool from afar, sounds cool on paper, but then when you go and do it, it's not really that fun. You walk in and die, okay? Or you just lag out and can't move and do anything. So like this makes a lot of sense to me. I think that the idea of large scale world PvP, if done right, could be cool. But to be completely honest, it's always going to end up being like the melee charges in, just drops dead. You have 50 mages in the back spamming Blizzard. Like that's how it's always going to be. So they got to figure out a way to do, if they're going to do like the defending and raiding cities, there has to be some kind of limitations or a way that this is designed to kind of make it not that, right? There will be towers and camps that have to be captured, repeatable quests for collecting, escorting, and more. There will be resources like Black Lotus high-level fishing pools and rich thorium veins. When there is a vast amount of objectives, player will split all around the zone instead of focusing on one single big battle. Objectives are on a random timer and spread far apart to prevent deathballing. It's impossible for a single 40-man raid to control the map. When a player in the zone is killed, their body can be looted for an item that can be used as a currency for purchasing PvP items and consumables. Some examples of the objectives would be a heavy relic spawns in the temple ruins that prevent mounting, forcing teammates to escort them on foot. You could steal dragon eggs from nests atop the highest cliffs and physically run them down the mountain to your base for massive honor gains. A gnomish plane drops a crate on the northern runway every 15 minutes, triggering a King of the Kill fight for rare engineering consumable. Like, this is amazing. Like, that sound, like, this whole idea of Azshara, again, Blizzard, if this leak is not real, take notes. This is what we want in Classic Plus. That would be fantastic. Okay? All right, we're almost at the end here, guys. So, the most interesting feature regarding PvP is the new dueling system. The idea of this feature is to capture the feeling of dueling outside the cities, where people gather together in a small social group. Again, very classic. People still do this today. This is what you do. You queue for Battlegrounds, you stand outside Stormwind or Orgrimmar, and you duel your friends or your buddies, whatever. Interact with each other and duel. A huge part of dueling outside of cities is the feeling that you're in a world and not in an instance. The player sees the zone around them, listens to the zone's music, etc. They will try to capture that world feel and socializing of dueling in the new system. It will start with a huge quest chain for attunement. There will be PvP-related quests like killing enemy players inside their cities and more once attuned. The player receives a special ring that will allow them to be part of a secret society of assassins. It will be a faction with reputation and rewards. The assassins will gather each week in a special place around the world to duel. Some of those places are islands near the coasts of Tadaris, the top of the Colossals in Feralis, and the arena in Dire Maul, Karazhan Tower and Deadwind Pass, and more. Each week, there will be different places where the assassins will gather. There will be different and unique places around the world that will be used as dueling grounds. Each dueling place will feel like it is part of the world. It will not be instance, and players can gather and interact with each other at that place. There will be a quality of life changes to these duels, and when a duel starts, everyone around will fade out and disappear for the players in the duel. This will prevent distractions during the duel and intentional griefing from other players. When the duel starts, the cooldowns will reset. There will be a sort of mage table for players to restore health, and there will be ranked duels that are going to be best of 3 with 30-second pauses in between each duel. Ranking will only be class-based. This means that the player is compared only to the players of the same class. This will completely avoid the problem of balancing classes around duels when a warrior is only compared to other warriors. It doesn't matter if he loses most of the duels against a mage. Now that is, dude, I have been saying that there needs to be some sort of 1v1 ranked in WoW for a very long time. The only issue with that is like what was just stated. Warrior versus mage. It's never going to be fair. You know, there's things in the game that just aren't fair. So now, if you're ranked only against your class, I think that is fantastic, and this would be an awesome addition. I think I talked about this back in my SOD videos. I was like, we need a dueling island where you can, like, you know, get just endless amounts of food and water, and you should be able to reset your cooldowns. Maybe you should fight in a cage and other players standing around could like wager gold on who's going to win, like whatever. But that is pretty much what this is. And I talked about that a long time ago, 2 years ago in a SOD video. And I would love to see that in Classic Plus. So let's continue. Achievements will be added in a new way that will become account-wide. This will make them appealing to players who want to progress in a way that allows them to play on a fresh server and on alts and still have progress on their main account. This will reward achievement points and cosmetic account-wide rewards like titles, tabards, mounts, and pets. The unique thing in Classic will be that the achievements will be far fewer than they are in Modern, but they will be very hard to complete. Some of them will require months and even leveling a character only for them. The goal for them is to feel epic in scale and give players long-term progression. Some crazy examples include level to 60 by only killing boars, kill Onyxia in a 3-man party, achieve max level being naked, and there are some simpler ones like achieve the highest PvP rank, level a hardcore character, level all classes to 60. Yeah, very cool. I do think that having achievements in the game does add that sense of horizontal progression, gives you things to do outside of just min-maxing the game, right? Class skills and talent trees will be updated. The changes will be small and far from the scale of SOD. That's good. I mean, I enjoyed SOD, but I don't think it was very classic in terms of class design. It felt more like Wrath of the Lich King and Cataclysm when it came to the classes. Some of them will be slight adjustments to spells or adding scaling. Some will be larger. The main focus is on Paladin and Shaman tanks. Paladins will have Crusader Strike, which will do holy damage and heal everyone around the Paladin. It will be designed in a way that will allow Retribution Paladin to use fast two-handed weapons. Paladin new Taunt ability will affect all friendly players around the Paladin, causing all enemies to attacking them to attack the Paladin instead. This will be a more unique AoE taunt. The Paladin will excel in AoE tanking, but it will have problems with mana and single target threat. That's perfect. That's very classic of them. Shaman enhancement. This will include tanking talents and skills, and for damage, it will focus on two-handed weapons. Shaman's alternative to Blessing of Salvation will be Rockbiter Totem, which will imbue the weapons of all party members, allowing melee attacks to cause additional threat. I don't think that really works unless you want the whole party to be tanks. Why would the entire party want to be causing more threat? I don't know about that. That's a weird one. Instead of decreasing the threat of everyone, shamans can increase the threat of all tanks comparable to salvation while keeping the totemic mechanic and classic feel of the spell. Like, yeah, this is cool if, like, the whole group was the tanks in the raid. I don't know about this. This is a weird one. I don't know if I would design this like this. They will get a new enhancement spell called Elemental Strike. It will have a different effect based on the weapon enchant. For Wind Fury, it will restore mana. Frostbrand will freeze the target. Rockbiter will taunt the target. Okay, so that makes sense. Hunters will get pet scaling and unique pet skills from the alpha version of WoW, which are not finished, but they are still in the database. Pet Family has 3 spells. Explosive Shot, similar to Sod, will be added as a baseline skill. Silencing Shot is added at 31 in marksmanship. Aspect of the Wolf will give strength and agility to your pet. And Aspect of the Snake will reduce harmful damage over time effects. Interesting. Distracting Shot will cause the next attack of the target to miss, making it useful in PvP. Tranquilizing Shot will dispel magic effects, and they get an interesting new mechanic. They can enchant their arrows and convert them into fire, poison, or cold arrows. It is similar to a rogue's poison crafting. That could work. That could be pretty cool. Rogues will have small updates. Garrote can silence. Improved sap is baseline. Pre-med gives 5 combo points. Fist weapon specialization can silence the target. Vigor is now a finishing move that will replenish energy based on combo points spent. 5 combo points gives 100 energy. And etc with a 30-second cooldown. Poisons are changed. Deadly poison can stack up to 10 times. There is a new ability called Venomous Strike. Generates 1 combo point with damage based on attack power, so it can be used with fast weapons and a secondary effect that increases the chance to apply the poison on your weapon, allowing for builds focused around poisons. They will also gain the disguise ability from the alpha version of WoW. Mages will have their arcane specialization revamped with completely new abilities never seen before. Arcane will be focused around utility, but it will be viable in PvP. Fire will have some of the PvP talents from TBC. Frost will have minor tweaks. Ritual of Refreshment will be added. That's awesome. Druids will gain a normal resurrection spell. Thank the Lord. There will be adjustments to healing over time spells. Moonkin form will gain mana regen aura instead of their spell crit aura. Moonkin will also gain Cyclone with 1 minute cooldown to make it more interesting for PvP. Mango will be a new talent in Feral. Bears will gain Lacerate. For cats, Tiger's Fury will give attack speed based on combo points spent, similar to Slice and Dice. Class changes are still being tested and developed. So, all in all, if this leak were to be true, would you be happy with this version of Classic Plus? I'm going to tell you right now, I would. Again, there's no credible source for this leak. This could literally be some random player's notepad that they opened up and typed out their version of Classic Plus that they would love. But that is okay, because reading through this, if Blizzard does, let me say, 50% of what was in this leak, I think that would be a massive and wildly successful version of Classic Plus. I think everything in here does capture that original Classic feeling. It's about slowing the game down, making the game about exploration, making the game about having other things to do outside of min-maxing and raiding. I am just tired of the log parse culture in WoW. Not part of it myself, but it's because it exists. And when it exists, I'm a competitive player and I want to be part of it and do the best that I can. But if we kind of shifted the focus more towards enjoying the game, fun things in the game, these 1v1 duels, Azshara open world PvP with planes dropping loot crates like in Rust or DayZ, like that is awesome in my opinion, right? I'd even love to see that Azshara zone become like a high stakes PvP zone where like maybe you lost gold or a piece of gear on death, something like that. I don't know, but just adding cool stuff like that to do outside of Raid Night, I think is extremely important. And I want to know your guys' opinion on this leak, because I think as much as we've seen leaks over the past few years, this one really caught my attention because of the way that it's worded and the things that it's talking about. It almost is like this is like my version of Classic Plus that I think of in my head is this leak for the most part. I think I would do different things with the Shaman and Paladin, and maybe I would change classes a little bit differently, but pretty much everything else, it's like spot on, guys. And I think that this would make such a fun version of WoW. Now, think about all the information we just talked about right there. And none of that was highlighting new raids or anything like that. Like, yes, there will be new raids and all that, but we just talked for 30 minutes on new features and zones and events in the game, and none of it was raids. And that is my take on what Classic Plus should be. Absolutely, we want new raids and new endgame content, but the majority of the game should be leveling focused, world focused and just open world event focused. With horizontal paths like 1v1 ranked PvP, all that kind of stuff. But anyways, I don't want to keep rambling. That was a really long video. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments below. Follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/hammerdance. I stream Monday through Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And subscribe to the channel if you guys love Classic WoW just as much as me. We have Phase 2 at TBC dropping this week. It's going to be a lot of fun jumping into SSC and TK. But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching and listening in. I'll see you all in the next one.